Republicans in Texas yesterday released the first draft of a new congressional map aimed at picking up 5 seats in next year's midterms. Texas Governor Greg Abbott added redistricting to the special session agenda at the urging of President Trump and his political team. Republicans currently control 25 of the 38 congressional districts in Texas. Under the new maps, the President Trump would have carried 30 of 38 seats, all by more than 10 points. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is in Texas meeting with Democrats as they weigh their options on how to fight the redistricting efforts, which could include leaving the state. Jeffries is supposed to hold a news conference today at the state capitol in Austin. Meanwhile, the Texas Tribune has new reporting that California Governor Gavin Newsom has told aides he will move forward with a plan to redraw his state's congressional lines to install more Democrats if Texas Republicans pass their own updated map. Let's bring in MSNBC contributor Mike Barnicle and politics reporter for Semafor, Dave Weigel. Dave's latest reporting is titled Democrats Struggle Against Trump-Waged Redistricting Battle. So, Dave, let's talk about exactly what's happening right now in Texas and how unusual this is. They usually redistrict maps all over the country after the census every 10 years. This taking place right in the middle of a decade, really from pressure applied by President Trump.
That's the part that's unusual. The Supreme Court, actually starting in Texas in 2003, clarified that states can redistrict, gerrymander whenever they want. It doesn't need to be right after the census. And what is unique this time is how little pretense there is that this is about anything but helping Trump get more seats. And so this started with Harmeet Dillon at the DOJ sending Texas a letter and saying, we have civil rights concerns about some of the majority-minority districts that were drawn in 2021. But listening to the Republicans defending this and posting about on social media, they are describing this, the Republicans in Austin, as giving Trump 5 more seats. And talking to Republicans in Indiana, Missouri, other places where they have the power to draw more seats if they want to, that is how they phrase it. It is not, we are restoring the justice that was denied to us by the previous map, or this is going to better represent these constituents. It is, we want Trump to have more seats. He deserves more seats. We need to stop the left from taking power. And that's what the position Democrats are put in there is, do they want to defend the idea of independent commissions or something else? Or they just want to say this is tit for tat. We cannot allow them to turn the country into, the comparison I hear the most often is Hungary.
Right. And Mike Barnicle, we're talking about this in 2025. This has been going on for such a long time. And, you know, whenever some people have come up to me in the past and asked, why are things so different now in Washington than they were before? One of the first reforms I talk about is the ending of gerrymandering. I'm not sure how you get from here to there, but it's absolutely critical because it started in the 90s when they started using computers to redistrict, and they could draw lines perfectly to make sure that if you're in Florida 1, you get all the Republicans. If you're in Florida 2, you get all the Democrats, and you can vote with your party 90, 95, 98% of the time. And a primary win is as good as a general election win. Once you get past the primary, it's over. And so that's why you have so many House members going to the extremes. And they could, whether Republicans are in charge or Democrats are in charge, that's been the case for years now. I mean, we have to figure out a way to end gerrymandering. It would make such a huge difference. Imagine if somebody's, instead of in a 90-10 district or an 80-20 district, they're in a 50-50 district or a 55-45 district. They actually have to listen to everybody in their district. They have to actually do what's best for the country and then go back in their town hall meetings. And instead of talking to people who are 95% Democratic or 95% Republican, they're talking to a lot of independents. They're talking to some Republicans. They're talking to some Democrats. And they're talking about what makes America best, not what makes a party or a president strongest.
Yeah, but Joe, you just used the phrase, what's best for the country, that they think of what's best for the country. I don't know that anyone on either side of the aisle, Republican or Democrat, is more or less thinking about what's best for the country, other than now uniquely what's best for us as a party, what's best for me for my re-election race, what's best for me in order to avoid a primary. And Dave Weigel, the idea of this going forward in such a public way, I mean, they're not trying to hide anything. What role will the courts play, and when will the courts play it, if they play a role at all?
Well, Democrats have the option of suing if the maps are put into effect. They would argue that because this map is going to delete some majority-minority seats, that it's a violation of the Voting Rights Act. But look at the courts in Texas. Look where this would go. It would go through state courts, kicked up to the Fifth Circuit. You're not likely to find a panel of judges who will agree with them. There is a risk that gets kicked up to a 6-3 SCOTUS that says, actually, we've read the Voting Rights Act again and don't think that you need majority-minority districts. Now, there are Democrats, Ruben Gallego in Arizona is one of them, who say it's time to just give up on the majority-minority district idea altogether, because Democrats should be in the business of maximizing how many seats they can win. Go back to 1992, the first time that the South was redrawn where there were more safe black districts, Democrats lost some seats because there were safe seats in places like Birmingham, like Tallahassee, or I should say like Jacksonville, and then they were redrawn away from more competitive seats that Democrats could win. This could be a transformation in how both parties talk about it, moving away from the idea that it's about voters and fairness or about competitiveness, and it is about getting partisan advantage whenever you have power.
And Susan, let's go further on that point. It could be like an arms race here, because some Democrats are suggesting, well, if you're going to do it in Texas, we could do it in some blue states. New York has talked about it, as well as California. And there was one map floating around yesterday that would show redistricting of California, not an unrealistic one, that would basically wipe Republicans off the map entirely. It would just be nothing but Democratic-controlled districts. We're going to a new and I would argue dangerous place here.
Of course, we know that some of these blue states, California and New York included, have more legal difficulties in doing kind of the freewheeling, we just want to do it so we can do it, redistricting that we're about to see in Texas. But I wonder what voters actually think about this new political arms race, because the times when referenda have gotten onto state ballots to try to get rid of some gerrymandering, to try to bring some common sense to the way districts are drawn, they've done pretty well. And we've seen several states move toward less partisan redistricting in a way that they like. Now, voters elected this Texas governor and this Texas legislature that's about to do this. So I wonder, and maybe Dave has a view on this, I wonder what voters in Texas think about what's about to happen there.
There has not been a lot of polling specifically in Texas yet, but you're right that when this is presented to voters and the question is, do you want politicians to draw districts where they can never lose, that loses. The way that Republicans beat an anti-gerrymandering measure in Ohio last year, it helped that Donald Trump was on the ballot, but they had the power to rewrite the language for the ballot initiative, and they wrote it so that it sounded like it was pro-gerrymandering. They said it was going to take taxpayer-funded money and let bureaucrats draw things so that you wouldn't have a voice in this. That when it is presented as you don't really get to choose who represents you, one party is going to be in power forever, yes, voters do reject that. But it's state to state. Michigan, for example, you can put a ballot initiative in front of voters. Democrats did that. Got nonpartisan redistricting, hard to undo. Colorado, hard to undo. And talking to Democrats, my colleague and I, Burgess Everett, talking to Democrats this week, Democrats from states that passed these independent commissions were reluctant to say, let's throw it out and let's have perhaps every 2 years trench warfare where we try to redraw the maps and get new districts. Yes, the abilities there, and voters don't like this, but that's the point of gerrymandering. Voters in North Carolina keep voting for Democratic governors, and Republicans have drawn the state as such that they're basically unable to elect a Democratic legislature.
Yeah, and John Heilemann, just so those that haven't followed this closely understand exactly the consequences of this, well, take a look at Wisconsin, which after the 2010 election started gerrymandering their districts in Wisconsin to favor Republicans every way possible. It got to a point where you would have state legislative races are the tallies that would be about 50-50. And yet Republicans would control 65% of the state legislature. I mean, it is so grossly unrepresentative, so unfair. It's a sort of thing, it seems to me, that if we're going to do this, we need to have a national pact. We've got to figure out how to do this nationally, because we all know what's coming. More and more voters every year becoming independents. And this sort of gerrymandering only seals the fate for Democrats and Republicans alike.
Right, and Joe, to the point, I mean, it really is this kind of war of all against all that we're headed towards here. And it's one of the main ways in which the Trump era has changed our politics. This consideration of there are the legal quandaries and difficulties because of the independent commissions that got set up in a lot of these Democratic states, but the pressure coming on Democrats who are frustrated with the lack of fight that they see in their leadership. So the pressure coming on driven by people like Beto O'Rourke and by large parts of the given voice by Beto O'Rourke, but driven by the Democratic base that says, you know, California, New York, Illinois, New Jersey, these are all places where the pressure is now on, and you have Hakeem Jeffries now getting involved in this, kind of taking increasingly the view that, you know, we are suckers if we don't try to in some ways mimic what Donald Trump and Republicans have done, which is to basically say this is not about anything other than political power. And Jonathan said a second ago that it was disturbing. I think where this is headed is to a very ugly place. But again, there are a lot of Democrats who say we're already in that ugly place, and we're either going to do unilateral disarmament here or stick with what they see as unilateral disarmament in the form of these nonpartisan commissions, or we're just going to get swamped. We're going to get shellacked, or we're going to get played for fools. The logic of this is leading to a really ugly place, but it is also a kind of compelling logic when the other side is behaving in the way that it's behaving.
Yeah, one Democrat in the New York Times this morning say we don't have access to the high road anymore.
Right.
We've got to fight on their terms because this is how it's happening. All right, some before is Dave Weigel. Thank you. His latest reporting available online now. Coming up, some immigrant rights groups are raising concerns about the ICE raids happening across the country, saying the